So hello, good afternoon, everyone. We see that many people are logging in now. More people are asking to log in, so this is very good. We're meeting people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Indonesia, and India right now. So thank you everyone for being here today. This will be the second webinar. The last webinar was about the lockdown measures, and then later on during the presentation, we'll be showing you how to access the link to see the previous webinar in case you missed it, or in case you would like to see it once again. And you will be able to see the part of our website where you will be able to find the webinar presentations. So, very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to this Panta Rei series of webinars. This will be our second webinar. And on behalf of Mr. Felicio Raca from Panta Rei, from Mr. Mirko D'Antoni, and Ms. Monica Tesarolo, we will be welcoming you today. My name is Manuel Romero from Panta Rei, and also Mirko and Monica, can you please say hi to our guests?
Hello to everyone, and thanks to be here.
Good afternoon.
Okay, then, so there are 28 participants right now. Once again, thank you. This is Panta Rei. This is our second webinar, and we will be starting now. Thanks again for all the people who have been staying safe at home. Thanks to all the people who are now back to work, but are still keeping safe and who have made some time to be present here today. Thank you very much, and we will be starting now. Okay, then. So about us, in case you didn't join the previous webinar, this is just a very short presentation about us, about Panta Rei. As many of you already know, we are present in the water and wastewater treatment sector, and we've been there in this field for over 12 years. Actually, in 2 months, it will be 13 years that we have been operating in the water and wastewater section. And we've been operating basically in all the continents. Quality is our main purpose. It's the reason we are here, in order to give you quality solutions. And we are also a certified company. We have an ISO certification in order to make sure that our solutions are not only sustainable and are not only technically sound, but are also certified and up to international standards. Well, talking about standards, Panta Rei is also part of the Zero Discharge of Hazardous Chemicals group, the Roadmap to Zero Foundation. And also, as many as you know, this has united partners and contributors from all over the world in order to follow a common goal, which is a compromise with environmental sustainability. We will be talking more about ZDHC in the future presentations, because this will be also one webinar. And also, as you know, the Southeast Asian market is our core market. We have more than 90 effluent treatment plants worldwide, and more than 65 are located in this region, and there are more to come. So this is, the main territory that we're covering. And we have a wide range of solutions, from the inlet water pretreatment for the factory to the water recycle. This is the webinar schedule. Last week we had the ATP lockdown measures webinar. Today we will be talking about the fluff removal and heat efficiency in textile ETPs. Next week we will have the biological process in the effluent treatment plant webinar. It's gonna be a very interesting webinar, so don't miss it. Mr. Mirko D'Antoni will be talking about all the processes linked to the biological process. And we'll have then another very interesting webinar about the ETP equipment maintenance. So we'll be covering, like pumps, blowers, dosing pump, all the main components of the ETP. Then we'll have a Zero Discharge of Hazardous Chemicals webinar. Then an MBR bioreactors, so membrane bioreactors webinar, a sludge solution treatment, and finally, a water and bike recovery system webinar. So now we'll be talking about the fluff removal, the fibers removal, and the heat efficiency in the ETP. As you know, there are aspects in the wastewater treatment that are often overseen. And you know, many people say that sometimes the most difficult problems, the hardest problems, have very simple solutions. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. In this case, we will analyze the initial section of the wastewater treatment plants, because many times in order to achieve better overall performance of the plant, and in order to have very nice savings and improvements in the ETP, we can tackle just the pre-treatments, some parts that are sometimes not considered, but they can make you save money. So through our experience all over the years in the textile industry, we have been implementing a special type of screening. It's a this microfiltration, and it's placed before secondary treatments, such as the biological oxidation. Not a specific kind of secondary treatment. It can be any, for example. It can be a traditional, conventional activated sludge treatment, the one that we have all over the world. It can be an MBR treatment. It can be an MBBR treatment, or anything in between. You know very well the fine screens that are located in the effluent treatment plants. They are reliable and well-proven technology. However, even if we have something like 1 millimeter filtration grade, it will allow fibers to pass, and then they will get into the secondary treatment. So this is why we are proposing this technology in order to treat that issue. And what's the approach? The approach is the use of this microfiltration, as we said, and it would have a 100 to 200 microns filtration grade. That is 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters. It's completely in stainless steel. There are filtration segments, as you can see the discs here in the picture, that block the passage of the fibers. Later in the presentation, we will be watching some videos so that you can see yourselves how this system works. This system also works continuously and backwashes automatically when needed. So there are no dead times. That means that you don't have to put large storage tanks before them, because you will not be stopping them. Once you start them up, they will keep running 24/7. Because they automatically backwash. There are some sensors inside, and they allow the filter to be cleaned whenever it's needed without stopping the operation. So this is a very important point. This is an example of how the machine is made. As we said, you will be able to see some pictures, and not only pictures, but also to watch some videos about this machine. It's a disc filter that is completely in stainless steel. It's got its cover for safety, and then in this picture you can see also the inlet and the outlet. You will be getting this presentation later from our website. We will talk about this later so that you can watch it in detail, and all our agents will be happy to clear any doubts through our technical department, in case you wish to have more information about this, or in case you need to have some information which is specific to your factory. As you can see, when the fluff and fibers are rejected and they are collected separately, they do not enter the further treatments. In this picture, you can see how the fluff has been removed. Imagine all this fluff, or this kind of sludge, going inside the biological treatment. As you can see, it would generate additional sludge. That would mean that would have more expenses that are linked to the sludge treatment. And not only that, but this matter here also gives particulate BOD, particulate COD, that means a higher organic load. That means more energy that we have to use in order to treat this effluent. So what are the advantages of implementing this kind of microfiltration before our secondary treatment? Well, we have a table here which can summarize it. You can see that we have the inlet flow parameters such as COD, BOD, and total suspended solids. And what are the advantages? Well, with this kind of microfiltration, we can reduce up to 20 to 25% of the COD and BOD value, especially the particulate matter. And what happens when we do this? Well, then that means that we need lower oxygen amount in the aeration tank. So if we have to put less oxygen in the aeration tank, that means that we have to blow less air inside. So if we blow less air, that means that we can save energy, because we can either have smaller blowers or we can have the same blowers, but with the frequency inverter, we reduce the rotation speed and we reduce the energy consumption. Then this is about the organic part, the COD and the BOD. But then we should talk also about the total suspended solids. With this system, we can reduce from 50 to 90% of the total suspended solids contained in the inlet. That means that we will have higher biodegradability in the aeration tank, and we will have lower excess sludge production. So we will need to treat less sludge. There will be less sludge generated in the system. Furthermore, since we don't put the suspended solids inside the treatment, that means that there is not inert matter inside. There is the more biodegradable COD that's coming in. So this is also good for the overall process. So another thing that we can see here about the advantages that we were talking about, the actual savings that we would have. Why would we have savings? Well, we have savings because we reduce the energy consumption from 10 to 20%. So that means money savings, energy savings, smaller energy footprint. We have, as we said, a lower production of sludge. So there is from 15 to 20 sludge production reduction. So that means that we also reduce the disposal costs and the chemical consumption. For example, when we put the polyelectrolyte, the polymer for the sludge treatment. These are the main advantages that we would have in our system when we implement this kind of microfiltration system. But it's not only about the biological process. We said that we would talk about also heat efficiency. Well, another advantage is that if we put the disease filtration before a heat exchanger, for example, we will improve the heat recovery. Because when we have a heat exchanger, because many textile companies, as you know, have textile, in the textile industry, have heat exchangers. That means that if we put the effluent like this, with all the fibers and the suspended solids through the heat exchanger, it will be clogged. But if we remove the fibers and the suspended solids before, then we improve the heat recovery, and then we improve the overall performance of the heat exchangers. And this is not only about the heat exchangers, because many of you have cooling towers. So if we put this kind of microfiltration before a cooling tower, that means that we will remove these fibers before they go inside the cooling tower. So we will be improving the operation of the cooling tower, and we'll be reducing the need for maintenance in the cooling tower, because as you know, otherwise the fluff, the fibers may clog the cooling tower. So this is another area of opportunity that's there. So if we have to give some conclusions about this, is that a proper pretreatment unit will have the following advantages: the reduction of overall operating costs through energy savings, the enhanced process performance, and the heat recovery possibilities without clogging. Thus, we are transforming the waste. We are saying that the wastewater can be used in order to improve the energy cycle inside the factory, to improve the performance of the cooling towers. And not only, another thing that we would like to emphasize is the fact that this kind of machines can be implemented even after the ETP has been started up. So this can be a system upgrade, a system overhaul of existing effluent treatment plants. You can put this kind of equipment in your existing effluent treatment plant and improve the operation of your plant, improve the energy consumption, reduce the energy consumption, and also improve the biological activity. We will now be seeing a couple of videos. Before the end of the presentation, we'll be taking a look at some videos. This is a video of the machine. You can see that there is some fluff falling there. You can see the sludge falling there, that this sludge would have gone to the biological tank otherwise. You can see this is the machine. In this part, the machine discharges the fluff, and here in this case, it's being compacted. See the amount of sludge that's coming out of this system. This would have gone to the biological treatment. This would have generated a huge amount of sludge otherwise. This comes all from the cotton fibers here. And in some cases, this kind of matter is even put into biomass. It's been burned as biomass in order to generate energy as well. So it's a double advantage. You generate energy with this, and you take it out of your biological treatment plant. This is another example. You can see the inlet water. This is the view of the filters inside. During the normal operation, of course, you do not see the filters because they have a cover. There is a cover. So this is what is going on inside the machine. We're showing you this video of the machine without the cover, so that you can see how the machine is operating inside, because you see the box, the filter that looks like a box, but if you look at inside, it's like this. The water comes in the middle section, all the fluff fibers are accumulated. The clean water comes out from the sides, as you can see in this video. You get the clean water from the side, and from the center point, from the central part of the machine, all the fluff, the fibers material comes out. We will see it once again, so that you can watch the operation once again. This, as you can see, how it's automatically backwashing With the same water it filters, it can backwash, and you can see here how the fiber is removed from the disc without stopping the operation. We'll see it once again. You can see the pressure of the water that is removing all the fiber, and it's being done by backwash automatically. This is the most important thing, that you don't have to do anything because the machine does it all alone. Well, this is the end of this short webinar. We will now start our questions and answers session. You can use the general chat in order to write down your questions. And we really hope to see you next week. The next webinar will be about the biological process in the effluent treatment plant. You don't want to miss it because it's going to be very interesting. It's about the biological process that many or most of you already have. So this will be a great opportunity to get some enhanced knowledge about these treatment plants through Panta Rei's webinars. So, Mirko and Monica, can you speak now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we have here the first question is what type of pretreatment is recommended before the disc filter?
Okay, so let's see. Let me check let us check the questions. Okay, so what type of pretreatment is recommended before this filter? Well, basically, you can just have a fine screen, a traditional screen before this kind of filter.
Yes, okay. May I answer if you want?
Yes, please go ahead, Mirko.
Okay. So for regarding this question, okay, before the disc filtration is recommended to use the fine screening with a bare space, with the space of 2 millimeters. Just this one is to remove the raw materials. And of course, this kind of pretreatment of the fine screening is used also to protect the disc filtration. Why? Because the mesh of the disc filtration is under microns or 200 microns. So it's better to have a preliminary treatment like a fine screening to remove the raw material that could damage the mesh in the disc filter.
One thing for everyone who's asking about the presentation, we will let you see in our website where you can have this presentation, the link to the presentation. This presentation will be in a couple of days available through our website, and we'll show you where you will be able to find it, and we'll show you where you can find the presentation from last week. So just 1 second, we will see the website. Okay, so this is our website, www.pantareiwater.com, and if you go to the news section here, you will see the information about our webinars. This is webinar number 1 and webinar number 2. This is the general information about the webinars. This was the first one. This is the second one, the one that we're talking about today. And you see a link here pantareiwater.com, Research and Development, Webinars. Here you can see the schedule. And if you go to webinar number 1, for example, you can see the video. This video has also been made available through the social media. So in LinkedIn, in Facebook, you will be able to see this video. Okay, we see that probably we have some more questions. Okay, which type of chemicals used in these microfiltrations? No chemicals are used here. So this is a very good thing to know, that no chemicals are added in this microfiltration. So it's a zero chemical substances expense. Okay, and we have another question. If it's placed at the end of the process, what would be the advantages? Well, for the end of the process, we have a similar microfiltration unit. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. And we have microfiltration grade that goes from 10 to 25 microns. So that means that we can have 0.01 millimeter filtration grade if we put it at the end of the treatment.
Okay,
so
we have another question. Yes, which type of chemicals used in this microfiltration? Okay, no chemicals are needed because it's just a physical filtration, so no need any chemicals.
Yeah. So material of construction of this filter, it's in stainless steel. It's completely made in stainless steel. And the filtration sections, I mean the mesh is stainless steel 316, and the machine body is in 304, but it's completely in stainless steel. So there is one question: how can we decompose the fluff biologically? Well, this is why we're taking out the fluff from the system, because it's not completely biodegradable. So that means if we put it inside the biological system, it would hinder the process. So this is why it's taken out, and the final fluff, if it's dried, then it can be also used as biomass. So it can even be burnt and energy can be generated out of it. There is, okay, we see other questions. How can we check this filtration is better to install instead of traditional filtrations? Okay, this is very important, because if we put traditional filters at the beginning of the treatment, as you know, they will clog very fast. Plus, traditional filters need backwash. So that means more energy is needed, because you have to stop the filter and do the backwash many times, and not only backwash with water, but also with air. So that means more energy, since you have to have a compressor or blower or something like this. What will we do by suspended solids of microdisc filter? Well, this is what we commented before, that this fluff is the one that can be further dried and it can be burned for energy. Filtering efficiency of the machine, well, it can remove from 50 to 90% of the total suspended solids coming at the inlet flow. Surface area is the key design parameter. Yes, low disinflux, high cost of filter. Well, basically, this area, of course, the design parameter is the amount of square meters that are available to treat the flow, and this is always rotating, and that means that we can use the whole area of the disc. So that makes it more efficient, because we're rotating and we're using the whole area during this process.
Yeah, also, there is another question regarding what will be the procedure to treat the final fluff. So actually, the final the fluff taken out by the disc filtration, I saw several applications where basically the fluff are dried under the sunlight, and after that burn in the boiler. So could be used like a biomass, as already Manuel said, and burn into the boiler.
Okay. Okay, so also if you have any further questions, our agents will be always happy to convey your queries to us. So you can drop an email to our local agents as well in order to keep in touch with them if you have any doubts, if you have any specific concerns about the applicability in your factory or how to implement these kind of machines, please feel free to contact them. And as we said before, we really look forward to seeing you next week. It will be 11 a.m. Italian time. So that means it will be at 2 p.m. Pakistan time, 2:30 p.m. India, 3 p.m. Bangladesh, and 4 p.m. Indonesia. Western Indonesia time, of course, 4 p.m. So thank you very much for attending this webinar. Thank you for everyone for taking the time to come here. Thank you everyone for staying safe. And we wish you the best for all the people who have gone back to work. We know that some factories, Pakistan and Bangladesh are already open. Some factories in Indonesia are open as well. So thank you very much to every one of you for coming. Stay safe, and we will see you next week. Monica, Mirko, if you have any final comments, please feel free to comment as well.
No, it's okay. Just thank you again to everyone. Donoba damar bondura, terima kasih teman-teman saya. So see you next week for the next webinar. Stay tuned and don't miss the webinar regarding the process.
Yes, the same for me. Yes. Thank you for attending this webinar, and we hope to see you the next week.
And well, we will be seeing you next week. We really look forward to seeing you. Thanks again. Bye-bye. Stay safe. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.